Jill's got nothing to lose, just needs to stay in front and win, as you mentioned, Paul. He needs the bad luck for Dixon to fall back to make this all happen. And he's got to be thinking inside his cockpit right now.
Whoa! Big crash! Major incident. Kenny Brack getting way high up into the fence. So 2 cars involved.
That's Scheckter right there. You can see him moving inside the cockpit. His helmet, his steering wheel comes off. Car heavily damaged, but we have one other car right now that is very heavily damaged.
Now, what will the IRL do? What will the officials decide to do? The debris from Kenny Brack's car, who got way up into the fence. Almost reminds you of an accident Davey Hamilton had here.
And that car is torn apart, Paul. That piece you see right there is part of the under tray of the car. You can see by the skid marks right here where the cars are going across right now. The cars were side by side by the looks of it, and then they just take an immediate right-hand turn, so probably had interlocked wheels.
The yellow flag flies at the start-finish line. The question now is, with just 12 laps to go in competition, whether or not they will put out the red flag and stop the event, only to restart it. Tomas Scheckter, and they get him out of the car. We still wait word on Kenny Brack. They're going to ask Scheckter to wait for a medical crew, because with a hit like that, even though you're out and walking and think you're feeling good, they want to make sure that he is okay. Boy, look at what that did to the fence.
There's a piece of wheel right there, and that is the upright and the suspension piece.
So with 189 laps and Jill DeFerrin in the lead and Scott Dixon in position to win the championship in his first season in the Indy Racing League, suddenly, and it just shows how it lurks, suddenly there was a serious accident that involved Kenny Brack and Tomas Scheckter. Tomas Scheckter, you saw him get out of your car. We wait for word on Kenny Brack. They are still posting the yellow, and they are counting down to the finish of the race here at Texas Motor Speedway. We'll be back.
Back at Texas Motor Speedway, a very horrifying crash here late in the Chevy 500. There are now less than 10 laps to go, and the accident involved Tomas Scheckter and, more importantly, Kenny Brack. Brack is the individual that we are concerned about right now. We have already seen Tomas Scheckter exit his car under his own power, walking around. He is okay, but this very terrifying crash happened at the end of the backstretch as the cars were going into turn number 3. There is Schecter's car, but Kenny Brack and his car has been heavily damaged, and we will certainly not do any speculating at this moment as to his condition. As to whether or not this race can be restarted or not. There is the scene around Kenny Brack as the medical personnel from the Indy Racing League work over him and try to stabilize him. Here is the replay of what happened. Brack on the high side of Tomas Scheckter down the backstretch. At the end of the backstretch, there's the contact, and Brack's car up into the wall, virtually splitting in half. And here is the shot now from the end of the backstretch. It's a crash very reminiscent of Davey Hamilton's accident here a few years ago, in which he sustained very severe leg damage. The catch fence keeping the car contained inside the racetrack, but still resulting in a lot of damage to the car. Hopefully no, at least life-threatening injuries to Kenny Brack. The pace of the race, of course, reduced, and only now less than 8 laps to go in this event. And from race control, we are getting information now about cutting the race short because of the accident. There is some debris from Brack's car, which is outside the racetrack, and there is the damage that was done to the catch fencing. All right, the word from race control now is that they will roll the white flag. They will show the white flag next time around and bring this race to a close on lap 195, 5 laps short of the scheduled distance. So it appears as if Gil de Ferran will indeed win his final race of his career, as he has already announced his retirement from racing. He started.
There's no question this place always delivers the fireworks. Hello, everyone. I'm Jerry Punch, and welcome to Texas Motor Speedway. You know, nothing can compare to the thrills and excitement of open wheel racing here at Texas, and nothing can compare to what occurred here, turn 3 at Texas 1 year ago. Arguably one of the most terrific crashes in all of open wheel history. Indy 500 winner Kenny Brack has contact. His car gets airborne and pirouettes against the catch fence as pieces are sheared away. He is secured inside that capsule, that tub of the car. Brack's injuries were very serious. A broken sternum and femur, a crushed low spine, and 2 exploded ankles. But he would survive, and remarkably 2.5 months later witnessed the birth of his daughter, who was appropriately named Karma. 10 months of rehabilitation followed, and 3 weeks ago he returned to competition in his native Sweden. But he had never come back to Texas until this week, and his first trip was not to the racetrack, but to Parkland Hospital, where he and wife Anita went to give their appreciation to the men and women who were there on a day when he so desperately needed them. Kenny Brack had come back to Texas, a place that almost took his life 1 year ago.
Well, I have been testing once. Actually, in June I tested IndyCars already, but I just didn't have the stamina at that point to drive. You know, it was too. I thought I was able to, but you know, it was basically too heavy. Everything. I was fast and stuff, but I couldn't do a race distance. Yeah. Well, yeah. It looks like a little crooked.
Well, you were a little And of course, that accident in its way opened the door for Buddy Rice to replace Kenny Brack for the season at least at Rahal Letterman Racing. Bobby Rahal there on the right, a former Indy winner. And that opened the door, of course, for the Indy 500 win for Rice. There's Adrian.